Hello, everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the Flutter tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 2, where we'll be installing and setting up Flutter and also Android Studio. So basically, first I'll be showing you guys from where you guys can Flutter and how you guys will set that up. Okay. Before starting a new project in Flutter, what are the things that you need to do to make sure that your Flutter is running well inside your Android Studio properly, that you can create some web application seamlessly. Okay. So we're going to learn about all of that over here in this particular chapter. So let's not waste much time and let's get started. So the first thing, what you're gonna do right over here is, let me just close these tabs. Just go to your search engine. It can be a Google Chrome, it can be Mozilla Firefox, Opera Mini, or anything as such. Okay, if you do have Explorer also, it will work the same way. And from your search engine, make sure to type Flutter installation and click on enter. Okay. So once you click on install Flutter, what you need to do is you need to come here down this particular option, which is known as Flutter ko.dev. Okay. And from there, click on install Flutter. And here you guys can basically see that they're asking you to select the operating system on which you are installing Flutter. Okay, so if you do have a Windows laptop, make sure to download the Windows Flutter SDK file, which is Software Development Kit. Make sure to download the Software Development Kit for the Windows. Okay, this is right over here. You guys can basically download that. And if you do have a Mac OS, let's say a MacBook, okay, or you're using the Mac OS system, in that case, make sure to click on this one. And here you guys can just make sure that inside Mac, which you're using, like are you using the Intel or you're using the Apple Silicon OS? Okay, so according to that, you need to come here and basically download the software development kit zip file. Okay, and let's say if you do have Linux, you guys can click on Linux, and here also basically you do have the way of how you guys will be able to download. So this is the file which you need to download for using Flutter, and also for each of this operating system, you also do have the system requirement. Okay, so this is the system requirement of Linux over here. And if you just go to Chrome OS, okay, so this is the system requirement for the Chrome OS. Okay, you guys can see the operating system, the displays. Okay, so let's come here and let's mostly focus right over here. So the operating system should be Windows 10 or later. The disk space should be 1.64 GB, which does not include this space for the IDE, which is going to be the Android Studio. So we are going to use the Android Studio. And here you guys can see the tools. Make sure that you match those requirements. Like if you do have something less over here, it might give you some problem while you're working on your application. Okay. So over here for operating system, it should be Mac OS, and the disk space should be 2.8 GB. Okay, and here you guys can see that Flutter basically uses Git for installation and upgradation as well. Okay, so over here now, I'll just click on Windows, and from here now you guys can just click on Flutter Windows, and here you guys can see it will get downloaded. Okay, so the file is around 985 MB. So I already have downloaded this one, so I'll just cancel it just to save up some time for all of us right over here. And now what you are going to do is you are going to go to the place where your file has been downloaded. So it has been downloaded here in my download. And I also have downloaded the Android Studio, but I'm going to show you how you guys can do so. So I'll just take both of this file and let's go to my desktop. And from here, I'll just go to my resource file. Okay. So let's come here. I will just go to my resource file. And right here, if I just double click, you guys can see under this zip file, I do have a file known as Flutter. And inside Flutter, basically, I do have all of the frameworks which I need once I am actually creating a web application. So let's come back right over here, and to unzip this one, I will just right click WinRAR, and I am going to extract file here. Okay, so I'll just click on extract here. And as you guys can see, this is basically getting extracted. So it might take some time, but you guys can see it is extracting quite fast. Okay, so let me just wait for a bit over here. And once this is done, we will move on to install the IDE, which is the Integrated Development Environment. Okay. Here, as you guys can see, Flutter basically has been downloaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm just going to delete this one. And if I just double click over here, you guys can see that I do have all of this file, all these markdown sources, okay, all of these particular folders which we are going to use for the development. So now let's go back and now let's see that how you guys are going to download the Android Studio, which is the integrated development environment, or basically where we guys are going to do the whole code. Okay, because this is a framework, and there should be something where we basically need to code that particular thing, and make sure to choose a place or make sure to select a path where you guys will be able to redirect all your files. Okay, so now let's close this down. Let's go to your search engine and let's open up a new tab. And from here, now I'm going to type, let's turn off my cap, install Android Studio. Okay, so you guys can see. And once you're right over here, now the first thing, what you will be doing is you guys can just click on install Android Studio option right over here. And as you guys can see here, if you do want to download the latest version of Android Studio, you guys can just click it right over here and it will just download the latest version of the Android Studio. Okay. And also, if you want to download the other versions which were released a bit back, you guys can also get those files right over here. Okay. So download the latest version, see more information right over here. So different platforms, okay, they do have it for the Mac, okay, for Linux, the Chrome OS, okay. And if you just go to these develop options, there are a lot of options right over here. So from here, basically, if you just click one of this file, and you guys can see there is this term sheet. Okay, so there are all of these terms and conditions, so make sure to tick this particular checkbox and you can just click on download Android Studio and it will be downloaded. Okay, so just from here now, as I have already downloaded, I'm not going to do it back again because it is a pretty big file if you do want to see. Okay, so it's around 1.1 GB. Okay, so the total size of Android Studio. So this is how you guys can basically download it. So now let's come here. Let me just close all these tabs which I have opened in my search engine. And let me just come here and let me show you guys how you guys will be able to install it inside. So to install it, just like other applications, just double click right over here and it will load up a page, and I'll make sure that you guys follow what all you need to do right over here. So you guys can see it's just verifying the installer, okay? And it will just pop me up a page, okay? So here you guys can see this is the setup page which shows me welcome to Android Studio setup. And from here, I'll click on next. And one important thing to notice over here is that here you guys can see, here it's asking me select components to install. Okay. And from here, there is one option which I have tick marked is the Android virtual device. So make sure that you tick mark this particular checkbox because once you're working on creating a mobile application, it will basically show you guys an emulator inside your PC. Like it will just show mobile and it will show you how your application is looking in that particular cell phone. Okay, so that is quite important. And from here, I will click on next and you guys can see the program files. The location specified must have at least 500 MB of free space. I'll just click on next. And from here, I am going to click on install. I'll just wait for it to get installed first. And here, like once you are done, okay, you are done installing the Android Studio setup. Let's click on next. And here, there is an option which says start Android Studio. Okay. So when you're starting Android Studio for the first time, or when you're installing, as I was installing Android Studio, make sure that you do have internet connection in your PC or in your laptop or in your device in which you're using. Okay, because for the first time, what it does, it does actually download different applications and different widgets for itself to work. Okay, so I'll just click on finish right over here, and you guys can see screen reader detected. Do you want to enable screen reader support in Android Studio? And I'll just enable it right over here, and I will just click on don't send. And over here now you guys can see that here it is giving me a welcome option. So let me just close this thing down. Let me just increase the size. Okay. So this wizard will basically set up your development environment for Android Studio. Additionally, the wizard will help port existing Android apps into Android Studio or create a new Android application. So from here, I'll click on next, and here you guys can see choose the type of setup you want for Android Studio. So the first one is standard, which is Android Studio will be installed with the most common settings and options. And if you do want to customize your installation settings, you guys can also do that. But for me, I'll recommend you guys go with the standard one. So I'll just click on next, and here you guys can see that if you want to review or change of any of your installation settings, you guys can click previous. So from here now, once I click, it will download all of these files, which is a total size of 2.25 GB. So I'll just click on next. And after that, here you basically do have the license agreement. So I'll just click on accept. And once I click on accept, I will come right over here. I will just come down. Let's click on accept. And here, where I don't have the option of going next. And once you have reviewed all of these licenses, just come here, Intel Android Extra license. Make sure to accept this one over here. Make sure to accept this terms and condition. Make sure to accept the Android Extra license. And afterwards, you guys can click on finish. And here it is starting to download. So basically, it might take some time right over here. So we will get back once all these files have been downloaded and we'll be getting ready to start working. So over here, as you guys can see that this particular file has downloaded all its components. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on finish. And here now, this type of interface will basically be shown. Okay. But now also this is basically not ready for me to start working. Okay. So now what I need to do over here before starting to work. So as you guys can see on the left hand side, I do have this option which is known as project, customize, plugins, learn. And here now, once I come here onto the plugins option, I need to make sure that I download my plugin accordingly. But let me just show you, just see what are the options available right here at this point. New project, open and get from VCS. But once I download the plugin, let's say I need to download the Flutter plugin. Okay, so with Flutter, Dart will also be installed. So I'll just click on install right over here, and it might take some time as well for it to get installed. Okay, so make sure to install these accordingly. And now, once this particular Flutter plugin is being installed, now I will again restart my IDE. Okay, so let's click on restart, and here my Android Studio will basically be restarted again. And now once I'm restarting my Android Studio, here now you guys can see that I do have another option available, which is new Flutter project. Then I do have the new project. And after that, I do have these open options. And after that, over here, if you need some other particular options like import an Android code sample, if you do have a code sample, if you do want to import it, you guys can do that. This is the virtual device manager, the SDK manager, which is the software development kit manager. Okay, so profile or debugging APK, you guys can also do that. And here is the customizing option. If you want to go from the dark theme to a light theme, you guys can come here and basically move to a light theme as well. So over here, you guys can select the language and the region, the IDE font size. Okay, if you want to adjust colors for red, green, vision deficiency, if you do have that, okay, you guys can also adjust colors for that. But for me now, I'll just keep the theme as the light theme. Let's go to project. And yeah, I hope you guys to have understood this class on how you guys are going to install your Android Studio, how you're going to install Flutter in your PC and set everything up and get started with your first project with Flutter. Okay. So in our next class, we will learn how you will be able to create the first project and how to get started on working with Flutter. So take care, everyone. See you all in the next chapter.